is misguided because they completely ignore the advantages that the European single market provides for exactly the export. And various economic research institutes say that as well. Do you really want to leave the EU and act against the expertise of economic research institutes?
Thank you very much, Khalid Barik. I think it's great that you are doing something voluntarily of which you are convinced. I think volunteering is great. So keep going. You really seem to be a young, committed woman to me. Ask the questions. And I am pleased that I can explain to you this evening what our understanding is. Yes, one can discuss everything very openly, what you mean by that. First of all, we fundamentally ask, what is the situation here? The situation is the European Union. It has a democracy deficit. It has a disruption in the horizontal separation of powers and also in the vertical separation of powers. Horizontally, it means we have the executive, that is the government of the EU, in the Commission. However, the Commission is not elected. There are 30,000 officials, and above them sits Ursula von der Leyen, whom no one elected. And accordingly, we already consider this approach to be undemocratic. But it goes even further. The Commission also has legislative initiative rights. These legislative initiative rights should actually only belong to the Parliament, the European Parliament. But it doesn't...
I'm not saying they're perfect.
No, I don't know. No. I just want to point out where the fundamental problem lies. Namely, in the disruption of the separation of powers. That means in the Commission, they are not elected, yet they have all the power, all the authority. The Commission can also make decisions for the states. And that's where the problem starts, where I say they shouldn't be allowed to do that. Namely, in the disruption of the vertical separation of powers, where supranational law overrides national law. That means an unelected institution makes laws for countries over the heads of elected parliaments. And I say very clearly, I would like to finish speaking, Mr. Sievers, I say very clearly, did you already suspect that I would?
Say, yes, of course.
But it is very, very important that this is explained once. People sometimes don't understand this. And that's why I would like to explain it. I consider it a breach of the separation of powers and a disempowerment of national parliaments, where the elected representatives sit. That's why we say very clearly, we need a free internal market. We must also roll back all these competencies of the Commission due to the democratic deficits. And we need to shift the decision-making back to the nation states, where the elected representatives sit. And we want to complement the system with direct democracy. You must vote, you may decide on issues that concern you, and you can also, as an engaged young woman, bring in the initiatives yourself. I want that for you as a young person, and then you can vote on it. And the free internal market, that is a necessary condition for a Europe of fatherlands.
I would like to wrap up, even though we're running out of time, as I can see from my side as well. The point is, I am aware that the institutions are not perfect. That is what I do voluntarily, to engage with the institutions. At the same time, they completely ignore the fact that, for one, we have European elections. Yes, the Parliament can't do everything, but we still vote. And to delegitimize this election, I find very questionable. And secondly, the heads of government of the individual countries still have a lot to say. So there are still possibilities. In many cases, unanimity among the heads of government is needed for anything to be decided. And they didn't really address my economic point.
Yes, internal market, free internal market. May I ask you one more thing? What percentage of the laws comes from the EU for the nation? What do you estimate? Do you know what the percentage is?
Maybe 60–70%.
Over 9?
But the point is that many of the laws, we might have already implemented them, so you act as if they are new. I would say so. I obviously don't have the numbers. I see we're running out of time. But it's great that the discussion is now getting started.
I feel there's still a lot of need for discussion. Even here on the European political level, they couldn't come together. I would foresee it like that now. There is a lot of need for discussion. We definitely feel that time is indeed up. Thank you very much for the tip, Ms. Weidel. Thank you. And we already have, if we go back to the Senate here briefly,